Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we are tearing into a story that's just, well, it's the ultimate American contradiction, really.
Yeah, maybe one of the best, corporate revenge stories out there.
Totally. We're deep diving into Bernie Marcus, the co-founder of the Home Depot, his life, his empire, how it all happened.
Right. And if you're thinking this is just some, standard business biography, think again.
Yeah, definitely not.
We're not covering a typical MBA playbook success story, not about climbing the ladder step by step.
No.
This is all about a radical comeback, a business built not despite failure, but actually because of it.
That's the paradox, isn't it? That's what we need to unpack. I mean, picture this. A guy gets publicly fired. He's 49.
Yeah, middle-aged, established career, gone.
Humiliated, loses everything he'd spent decades building. And yet somehow, within a single year, that disaster, it becomes the absolute foundation for what grew into a $152 billion retail empire?
It's an incredible pivot, just incredible. And you look at Home Depot today, I mean, it's huge. Almost $160 billion in annual revenue now for 2025. Employs nearly 500,000 people.
Wow.
So our mission today really is to uncover that specific mindset. It's almost counterintuitive how rejection turned into the ignition for this massive company.
Right. The secret sauce no business school teaches you.
Exactly. You won't find this in a textbook.
Okay, so let's dig in. But we can't start with the billions, can we?
No. Gotta start with the opposite.
We have to start with the scarcity. Because that seems to be the operating system for everything that came later.
Precisely. Bernie Marcus, born 1929, right smack into the Great Depression, Newark, New Jersey.
Tough time to grow up.
Incredibly tough. His parents were poor Jewish immigrants from Russia. He talked about his childhood as just constant survival, choosing between rent, food, or heating the apartment. But that early poverty, that constant struggle, it wasn't a handicap for him. It was his first lesson, maybe the most brutal one, in resilience.
It created what people call the $0 mindset, right?
Yeah. Think about it. He dreamed of being a doctor. Got accepted to medical school even.
Wow.
But just flat out couldn't afford the tuition.
That's a huge blow. Life-altering disappointment, really.
For sure. So he switched to pharmacy at Rutgers. Pure pragmatism. It was a stable profession. He learned really early on that life doesn't just hand you options. You have to, build them yourself, brick by brick, with whatever you've got.
And that poverty, you're saying, gave him risk immunity.
That's a fascinating part. He said it often. When you grow up with nothing, you have nothing to lose.
Right.
Think what that does psychologically. Most executives, they fear losing their house, their status, their income.
Yeah, they've got something to protect.
Exactly. Marcus had internalized that he could always go back to zero.
So zero wasn't scary anymore. It was just a reset button.
It was a reset. He wasn't chasing luxury. He was chasing freedom from that fear of loss and that mindset. It became his, secret weapon decades later when things really did fall apart.
Which brings us right to that moment, the collapse before the calling. So late 1970s, Marcus has climbed the ladder. He's president of Handy-Dan Home Improvement Centers.
Right. A big chain at the time. Looked like it was going places.
It's 49, established, successful by any measure.
And then, boom, political disaster in the boardroom. 1978, there's this huge dispute with the parent company, Dalen Inc., and the axe falls. Marcus gets fired, just like that, unceremoniously, along with his operations chief, Arthur Blank.
And it wasn't about performance.
No, not at all. Pure corporate politics. A coup, basically.
The shock, the humiliation, it must have been just paralyzing. At 49, most people would see that as the absolute end.
You'd think so. Too old for a fresh start at another big company, maybe too proud for a demotion. You'd expect someone to just retreat, right?
Yeah. So how did he flip that? How did he turn that, personal anger into objective business analysis?
He called it redirection. And the shift in perspective was almost immediate. He said later, getting fired was the best thing that ever happened to me. Because it gave him the courage, he said, to stop building someone else's dream and build my own. The anger actually fueled the clarity.
Okay.
He and Blank took all their knowledge of the home improvement market and just realized, hey, the existing model, it's fundamentally broken.
How specifically? What was breaking?
Well, it was inefficient, for one, and kind of exclusionary. Stores were too small, didn't have enough inventory.
Right.
They were expensive because of all the middlemen. And crucially, the staff often just didn't care. Poorly informed, treated customers like an inconvenience.
The classic bad retail experience.
Exactly. The whole thing was miserable unless you were already a pro contractor who knew exactly what you needed.
So the anger, the humiliation, that becomes the spark. Let's design the anti-store, the perfect functional opposite.
That's it. They asked the big question. What if we built one giant warehouse store, like 3 times bigger than the competition, brightly lit, where anyone, plumber, homeowner, total DIY beginner, could find absolutely everything?
And crucially, at super low prices.
Ridiculously low prices. That was key. Immediate scale efficiency.
Okay, so they had the idea. They teamed up with Ken Langone, the financier.
Yep, and Pat Farah, the merchandising guy, and they had to move fast.
Right, time is money.
They scraped together the funding, opened the first 2 stores in Atlanta, June 1979.
I mean, those bare bones, right?
Oh, yeah. When we say scrappy, we mean scrappy. Utilitarian stores, handwritten cardboard signs, cheap fluorescent lights, stuff stacked high.
Sounds chaotic.
Looked chaotic, maybe? But it felt abundant. And that low-cost, high-volume thing, it only worked because Marcus wasn't afraid of losing money. He was already at his professional zero, remember?
Back to the $0 mindset.
Exactly.
And the market just ate it up.
Instantly. Proof the demand was there. The model was so good, they went public in '81, just 2 years later.
Wow.
Hit $1 billion in sales by 1989. So the paradox holds, right?
Oh.
Sometimes your biggest break only comes after you're completely broken down.
He really proved that what the corporate world sees as failure, history might see as a founder finally unleashed.
Freed from the bureaucracy, yeah.
But here's where it gets really interesting for me. It wasn't just about low prices in big stores. They built a whole different culture.
Ah, yes. The culture piece.
Marcus focused right away on building believers, not just a business. That was like his defensive moat.
It was pure genius. He famously said, you can copy a business model, you can't copy a culture.
That's powerful.
And it wasn't just talk. Culture was non-negotiable from day one. In those early days, Marcus was walking the aisles constantly, talking to every associate, instilling this idea of radical ownership.
How radical are we talking?
Well, they were told straight up, you don't work for Home Depot, you are Home Depot. And maybe more importantly, they insisted employees call customers DIYers, not buyers or shoppers.
Okay, that's like the semantics maybe.
You'd think so, but it's a huge psychological shift. A buyer is transactional. A DIR, that's someone doing a project transforming something.
Right.
Suddenly, the job isn't just selling a hammer. It's helping someone build their dream deck or fix that leaky faucet. It changes the whole interaction.
So the retail experience shifted from just buying stuff to actually learning stuff.
Yeah.
The weekend workshops.
Exactly. Free workshops. Learn how to tile, basic plumbing, electrical work.
That's brilliant. Education disguised as marketing.
Totally. You teach someone how to tile, they feel empowered, successful, and where are they going to go buy the tiles and grout for the next project?
Back to the place that taught them how. Loyalty through competence.
Genius loyalty program, built entirely on helping people succeed.
And this feeds into what you called the human compound effect.
Yes. Marcus had this very clear philosophy. If you take care of the people who take care of the customers, the money will take care of itself.
Simple but powerful.
It led to this really decentralized structure, a bottom-up company.
Meaning the store managers weren't just following orders from HQ. They had real power.
Significant autonomy. They were empowered like mini-founders. Real control over hiring, tailoring inventory to local needs, solving problems on the floor without needing, 3 levels of approval.
Give me an example.
Okay, say there's a local flood. The store manager could immediately decide to divert supplies, start working with local charities, didn't have to wait a week for some corporate committee to decide.
That kind of flexibility is huge. Competitors like Lowe's, they could copy the warehouse layout, eventually match prices.
But they couldn't replicate that feeling, that orange-blooded passion, that local trust.
The heartbeat was different.
It was. Marcus got that speed and real problem-solving beats centralized control every time in retail. If your employee feels like an owner, they treat the customer like their future depends on it. Because it kind of does.
Okay, so culture.
Right.
Check. But then comes the scaling challenge. How do you grow huge without breaking that soul? Marcus called it scaling with soul.
Right. And this is where he really bucked the trend. After the IPO in '81, Wall Street analysts are screaming for cost cutting, right?
For sure.
Pump up those quarterly numbers.
Standard procedure.
Marcus did the exact opposite. He increased funding for employee training, for leadership programs. His rule was culture before cash flow.
That takes guts when analysts are breathing down your neck.
Huge guts. He knew rushing growth without reinforcing the values first. That leads to collapse eventually. He wasn't building for 5 quarters. He was building for 50 years.
Playing the long game. Strategic endurance over short-term wins. and those silent growth engines he invested in.
Yeah, the stuff that isn't sexy but is absolutely essential. Logistics, supply chain systems, technology, way before it was trendy.
Building the foundation.
Building the infrastructure to move massive amounts of stuff efficiently, predict demand, that's what made the company resilient decades later, even when the market got shaky.
And we're still seeing that long-term vision play out today, aren't we?
Absolutely. Look at the big acquisitions Home Depot's making now. SRS Distribution in March 2024, over $18 billion.
Whoa.
And GMS Inc. later that year for $5 billion. This isn't just about opening more retail stores for weekend warriors anymore.
No, this looks different.
It's a major pivot to dominate the pro-contractor market, the B2B space, high margin.
So they're going for the whole ecosystem. Started with the DIYer, now integrating vertically to control the supply chain for the professional builder too.
Total market domination. It's like the original idea on steroids. Don't just own the shelf, own the entire home improvement life cycle, from the biggest construction site down to the smallest home repair.
That's ambitious, but fits with what Marcus said. The world doesn't need another billion-dollar company. It needs billion-dollar companies with a conscience.
Right. And that philosophy carried on even after he officially retired from leadership in '97.
Which brings us to legacy over luxury. Most founders step back, maybe buy a yacht.
Or a private island, yeah. Marcus focused on being useful, not just rich. He co-created the Marcus Foundation. By 2024, they donated over $2.7 billion.
And the Georgia Aquarium in Atlanta is probably the most visible piece of that.
Absolutely. A huge concrete gift. He personally put in over $250 million.
That's incredible.
And deeply symbolic. He called it a gift of gratitude back to Atlanta, the city that gave him his second chance after he got fired, where those first stores opened.
Nice full circle. And he also founded the Marcus Autism Center.
Yes, highly acclaimed center, really significant contributions there too.
But the strategy behind the giving is what really gets me, this time-limited giving. Why put an expiration date on a multi-billion-dollar foundation?
It's pure Marcus, applying his business thinking to charity. He set it up so the foundation closes permanently by 2045. That's about 20 years after his projected death.
Why? Most wealthy people want their name, their foundation, to live forever.
Exactly. But Marcus didn't want it to just exist forever, slowly becoming this risk-averse bureaucracy focused only on managing its own money.
Mission creep.
Precisely. He believed impact dies when purpose fades. He wanted the money spent, now, effectively, solving real problems while the mission was still sharp, while the urgency was high.
Get it done.
Get it done. His whole philosophy on it really sums up his entire life. Luxury fades. Legacy compounds.
Wow. When you boil it down, those core truths are so clear, and they all seem to stem from that one moment, being fired at 49.
Yeah, it really defined everything. If you distill it, maybe 3 quiet truths built Home Depot. First, failure is fuel. The firing was ignition, not the end. That's the $0 mindset.
Right.
Second, culture compounds. Investing in people multiplies your vision way faster, more reliably, than just throwing money at it. And third, giving is strategy. The point of wealth isn't just to have it or show it off, it's transformation.
Bernie Marcus really showed that leadership is delegation with trust. And wealth is measured by what keeps growing, what stays useful even after you give it away.
Yeah, the whole story is just about the power of the long game, isn't it? Patience, perseverance. It proves his early idea. You don't build a business to get rich. You build a business to stay useful.
So maybe the final thought for everyone listening is this. If Bernie Marcus, starting broke, publicly fired, totally forgotten professionally at 49, if he built a $152 billion legacy based on usefulness, what transformative project would you start if you could stop fearing failure and just focus on being useful long enough for your work to actually outlive you?
Something to think about.
Definitely. We'll see you on the next Deep Dive.